you, Madam Chair. Madam Administrator, the two cartels that are sending fentanyl into the United States are located in Mexico, aren't they?
Yes, sir.
And isn't it a fact that we could stop those cartels in their tracks if President Lopez Obrador would invite American military and/or law enforcement personnel to come into Mexico and work with his military and law enforcement personnel?
Senator, what I would say from my purview as the head of the DEA.
But is my
The U.S. fentanyl crisis. It's deadly, it's urgent, and it's tearing families apart. But can America actually stop the Mexican cartels pouring fentanyl across the border? Recently, a fiery Senate hearing made headlines. A U.S. senator went head-to-head with the DEA administrator demanding answers and accountability. Let me break down the 10 key moments from that showdown, and what they mean for America's future. First, the senator opened with some heat. He pointed straight at the Mexican cartels. "They're the ones flooding America with fentanyl," he said. His message? If Mexico just let the U.S. get involved directly, we could shut these groups down, fast. But when he asked the
statement true or not?
What I would say is that we're focused on the two cartels, who we believe are doing exactly what you say. They're responsible for the fentanyl coming
Let me
into
ask
the
you
United
again.
States.
If President Lopez Obrador invited the American military and/or American law enforcement officials to come into Mexico to work with the same in Mexico, we could stop the cartels, could we not?
Senator, I believe this is a whole of government effort and has to be, including whether it's the military, us, FBI,
Now,
and others.
Madam Administrator, I've listened to you here for almost an hour telling us how bad fentanyl is. Thank you for that, but we know.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to ask you a third time. If President Lopez Obrador invited the American military and/or law enforcement personnel to come into Mexico and work with the same in Mexico, we could stop the cartels. Isn't that a fact?
So, Senator, I can speak to the law enforcement side of this, and you just mentioned law enforcement. I believe that this is vital for both Mexico and the United States. Mexicans are dying as well, as we showed in the Chapitos.
Well, then why don't we stop them?
So
would it help? Let me ask you a fourth time. Would it help if President Lopez Obrador
asked the DEA chief if it was really possible? He never got a simple yes or no. Second, instead of clear answers, the administrator talked about how complicated this fight really is. She said it's not just one agency, but a whole of government thing. In other words, it's messy. Third, she pointed out the Sinaloa and Jalisco cartels. Two organizations, both in Mexico, driving most of the fentanyl trade. The senator agreed, these are the bad guys. But he was frustrated by all the talk. Where's the action? Fourth, he argued, if only Mexico would let us forces in, the crisis would end a lot sooner. Send in the military or the DEA or someone.
Obrador, I don't think it's a complicated question, Madam Administrator. You're asking us for more money every year, more money, and it gets worse, worse, and worse. You know, in the real world, the nitty-gritty of the real world, when you fail, you get fired. In government, when you fail, you get more money because obviously you need it. Now, let me ask you a fourth time. If President Lopez Obrador, and I'd appreciate an answer, if President Lopez Obrador invited the American military and/or law enforcement personnel to come into Mexico and work with his, we could stop the cartels, couldn't we?
I believe, Senator, that we can stop the cartels.
Okay, have you made that suggestion to President Biden?
If I could, I believe that we can stop the cartels by...
Have you made that suggestion to President Biden?
Senator, I have been very vocal in the whole of government setting on the importance of fentanyl, and all of us using every single effort and authority that we have.
Why hasn't President Biden done it? I mean, this is the way the American people, whose sons and daughters are dying, look at it. Our economy is $23 trillion. Mexico's economy...
But is that even realistic? Not really. It's not just strategy. It's about diplomacy. Fifth, the senator dropped a bombshell. America's economy is 18 times bigger than Mexico's. We buy over $400 billion in goods from them every year. That's leverage. Sixth, he said the president should use that leverage. Demand real help from Mexico's leaders. Boots on the ground, whatever it takes. But here's the catch. Cooperation takes trust and political will. And right now, not everyone's sure Mexico's president is ready to take that risk. 7th, the senator accused the government of failure. The DEA's budget keeps climbing, but so does the death toll. 8th, he said, in business, failure gets you fired. In government, it just gets you more money. That landed hard. 9th, the administrator fired back, defending her agents who put their lives on the line every day battling these cartels. 10th, this wasn't just political theater. It was a wake-up call. Fentanyl is killing tens of thousands. Cartels are ruthless and efficient. And government? It's bogged down in politics. So, can we stop the cartels? Maybe. But will we do what it really takes? That's the question that might define the next decade of America's drug policy. If you find deep dives like this valuable,